Hi friends, welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. Today I have 3 quick and easy dinner ideas for you and a bonus strawberry cake mix cookie recipe that's just in time for Valentine's Day. If you're new, my name's Amanda and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go ahead and get into these delicious recipes. So first up, I've got oven baked chicken tenders, and right now I'm just working on one of my sides. I was trying to clean out some veggies in my refrigerator, so I had a couple of squash on hand. I thought that would be good to saute that up and have that as a veggie along with this chicken. So I love sauteed veggies, roasted veggies, like any kind of way just about that you can do veggies. So while I'm cutting up this squash, I wanted to tell you about a video I have coming up on Friday. It's going to have a couple other dinner recipes and a fun dessert as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. So I've got my Pampered Chef coating trays out here, and I've got some eggs that I whisked together in one of them. I'm adding some sour cream and some Dijon mustard. The recipe actually called for yogurt, but I swapped out sour cream and it worked just fine. So I've got some seasonings going in here. I used garlic salt instead of just plain salt, and then garlic powder and pepper. And you could definitely, do whatever kind of seasonings with this you want to. But this was a very interesting recipe. It had you actually mix the seasonings in with the wet ingredients, and most of the time they have you do it with the dry. And I was kind of hoping that may impart a little more flavor to it. So once you get each piece coated with the liquid part of it, then you're just going to stick it in the panko and then just press it in there to make sure it sticks in there good. I will have to say that the thickness of versus just a plain egg seemed like it really helped that adhere to it, really well. And you're just going to repeat this for all the chicken tenders that you have, or you could use chicken breasts, I'm sure too. And then we're just going to put it on parchment paper lined sheet pan and get that in the oven. Now this cooks at 400 degrees. The instructions said for 15 minutes. I had to cook it a little longer than that to get it done. But I will warn you, these did not brown for me. Now you spray it here, you'll see me spray it here in just a minute with some cooking spray. And maybe I just didn't coat it strong enough with that. I'm not sure. So what I ended up doing was, once they got actually pretty much finished cooking, I kind of slid them off of the parchment paper because you can't broil on parchment paper. And then I broiled them. And that helped them get all toasty looking. It made them a lot more visually appealing. So that worked great. Now I'm fixing to saute up my squash, and I'm just using some of this butter. I get it from Sam's Club. It's really, really good. But it's a garlic butter, and I'm just adding a little olive oil as well. Now you can season it however you like. I actually used garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper. But obviously you can, whatever your favorite seasonings are, go for that. And then that's just what I use this night. That's kind of my standby seasonings for a lot of things, is to always pretty much do garlic powder and onion powder. And then I kind of vary things, from there. But basically you're just going to saute this over about medium heat until it gets done to your liking. Everybody kind of likes different degrees of doneness for their veggies. So just whenever it looks done to you, go ahead and pull them off. I like to try to get a little bit of almost, not quite charred, but almost like a little, brown bits. It's hard to do that, to cook a lot of it, but I do the best I can. And so this is the chicken. Like I said, you can see where I broiled it. So the other side was very pale. So you could actually flip it and do that as well on the other side, but I didn't mind to. It still tasted crunchy, so that was all that mattered. And I just did Kraft mac and cheese as an extra side this night, just to be quick. And this was really good. We really enjoyed it. I will say, might want to up the flavor on some of the seasonings and the chicken, but it was crunchy and we really liked it. So we've got Beef Penne Pasta Casserole up next. This is so good. I used to make this years ago, and I hadn't made it in forever. Plus my youngest, who's really picky, loves dishes like this, so I thought this would be a good choice for him as well. So I'm just dicing up this onion, and I'm going to saute it up in some olive oil and get that. Now the recipe actually calls for you to brown the meat with the onion. I have meat that I already have cooked that I freeze in the freezer, so I simply have to pull that out, defrost it a little bit, and you'll see me add that in a minute. By the way, that pot was a little hot, so I kept dropping the onions, trying not to splatter myself with the oil and stuff in there. But so yeah, so I kind of let this saute up first since my meat was already cooked, and then I added that. Now I'll link that video where I did the bulk cooking of the ground beef. It is such a time saver, y'all. I can't even explain. Like, it's so handy to be able to throw in stuff like this without having to go through the extra effort of cooking up ground beef. So I highly recommend that, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in that video. So I just, got the onions softened a little bit. I'm going to add in some beef broth. And now the recipe, I've made a few adjustments to it because I don't typically keep beef bouillon. It calls for beef bouillon. So I just use beef broth instead. And, you can, they interchange pretty easily. I've got a couple of cans of tomato paste going in there, a little bit of salt. And I went ahead and added, this really didn't call for any seasonings. It does say Italian tomato paste, but mine was just plain. So I added in some Italian seasoning, garlic, that type of stuff. So you could definitely play with this. Whatever typical seasonings that you like for, spaghetti sauce or lasagna or anything like that, you can definitely add that in. And this actually calls for Monterey Jack cheese. So I've got a block of Monterey Jack cheese that I'm just using my shredder. I love that thing. It's so fun to watch that cheese just kind of come out of there like that. But it is a very handy tool. I just wished it was dishwasher safe. That would be awesome. But it's pretty easy to wash up. So you let this sauce simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now the instructions do not say to put the sauce on the bottom. I do that because I've always heard that with any kind of noodle based dish that you're going to bake, it's best to have a little sauce kind of as a foundation. So I did that first, and you're basically just going to layer this. You're going to layer half of your penne pasta, and then half of the sauce and half of the cheese, and repeat that layer again until you top it with the cheese on the top. I will have to say I was kind of sweating this because I was afraid it wasn't all going to fit. The last time I made it, I don't remember it being so full, but maybe my pan was a little different because I definitely didn't have this pan back then. But it will fit. I pushed it all down. It got in there and nothing overflowed. My husband was kind of like, should we put something underneath that? And I thought, well, I don't think it would overflow because there's just not a ton of sauce, and those noodles are going to soak everything in. So I didn't have any problems with it at all. As far as overflowing or anything like that, it all worked fine. And once you get this, last layer of sauce, like I said, you're going to top it with the cheese, and you're going to cover it with foil. Now, it bakes at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. I will say I did a tip. I think somebody in the comments mentioned this in another video, but they mentioned to spray the foil that's going to touch the cheese with cooking spray, and that the cheese won't stick to it. And it worked. I was so excited. So thank you for that tip. So I've just got some garlic bread going in here. I just used hoagie rolls that we had that we didn't use for anything else. And so I thought this would make a great way to do garlic bread. I used that same garlic butter that I got from Santa's Club. This is it fresh out of the oven. As you can see, that didn't stick. I'm still amazed that worked. That's so awesome. I will definitely use that trick again. It looks so good and melty and just like comfort food, really. My kids love this, especially. I always like it. We all love it. So it was really good. We enjoyed it, and that garlic bread was so good. I meant to do a salad, but the lettuce I got from the pickup was not good. So next time I will do that. I love salad. So we've got oven roasted chicken breast going up next. I've just got 4 chicken breasts in this pan. I cover it with foil just kind of for easy cleanup. I'm just putting a little olive oil on it. And if y'all have been here long, you'll know I love that Tuscan garlic seasoning. It is so good. And so I just am seasoning this. You can use any kind of seasoning you want. Depends on how you want to flavor your chicken. And I just baked this in the oven. I believe it was on 375. I didn't really go by a recipe on it. It's just what I do when I bake chicken. And I baked it for probably about an hour or so. Just basically until it gets done. This is a great way also to bulk cook some chicken for the week, because we didn't end up eating all that and we were able to use it for lunches and everything. So that was great. Now I've just got some fresh green beans going in this pan with some butter, and I believe I did maybe a little bit of olive oil. And I'm just using garlic powder, onion powder, pepper to go on it. Now again, this is something you can use the seasonings you prefer. We really liked how this turned out though. I loved sauteing them. Again, I love veggies in any way, but this was really good. And even my husband, who is not a veggie eater, liked the green beans this way. So I will definitely be making these this way again. So I'm curious, do most of y'all like veggies, or is there a veggie you absolutely hate or a veggie you couldn't live without? Let me know in the comments. So the chicken was done there. The green beans are done. I just went ahead and did some instant mashed potatoes this night. That's quick and easy. I do add some additional just regular plain dry mashed potatoes to kind of even that out to where they're not so salty. So here's my plate. This was amazing. I cannot recommend cooking the green beans that way enough. The chicken is great, turns out great and tender in the oven. Highly recommend. So next up we have strawberry cake mix cookies. A friend of mine's daughter, her name is Jillian, she loves watching my channel, and so she wanted me to make a Valentine's cookie. So I thought this would be perfect for that. So Jillian, this is for you. So we've just got a strawberry cake mix going in there and a couple of eggs. We're going to get that stirred up together. These cookies are so easy. You really just couldn't even get easier. It's so simple and so cute and pretty too. Once you've got that mixed together, you're going to actually add in 1/3 cup of melted butter and get that mixed well. Once that comes together, you can add in your choice of, M&Ms, or the recipe also mentioned white chocolate chips. I thought the cute little Valentine's M&Ms would be really cute, so that's what I chose to use. Now the recipe calls for 1.5 cups, but you can use however much or little you'd like to use. Some people love a lot, some people love less, so just whatever your preference is. Get those all mixed together. Now the recipe says this makes 36 cookies. I have to say I was doubting that when I saw the amount of batter in there. It does say 1.5 tablespoon cookie scoop. I don't have any idea how big that cookie scoop is, but I thought it was one of my kind of smaller ones. Maybe I was wrong. I think I got 21 cookies, I believe. So just, be mindful of that. If you make these, that you might need to make a couple batches if you need a decent amount. And, of course, we're just going to put these on, I always use parchment paper because it helps for easy cleanup. And then we're going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. I think mine pretty much went 10 minutes each time. And then it has some different kind of instructions than some cookies I've seen. It actually says once they're done to remove them and let them sit on the hot cookie sheet for an additional 3 to 5 minutes. Then take them to the baking rack and cool them. So just make sure you do that step as well. That seemed to work really great. Here they are completed. Jillian, I hope you enjoyed these cookies. And if you make them, please let me know if you did like them. But I hope you enjoyed seeing them in the video. Thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate your support so much. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to have you join my YouTube family, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my posts. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.